Did you know that John A Macdonald was a passionate advocate of democracy? He demonstrated that in 1885. In those days, in order to vote, you had to meet property requirements, imposing property requirements. Not everybody could vote. John A Macdonald wanted that changed, and he introduced a bill in the House of Commons to make that difference. In his proposal, he advocated that the property requirements be diminished dramatically. He also proposed that anybody in Canada be subjected to the same rules. No more of this idea that one Canadian would have better access to the vote than somebody else. Then he went a lot further. He advocated that women be allowed to vote. He was the only statesman of his day to make such a bold proposal. And then he went further. He advocated that Indigenous people who did not have any right to vote also be allowed to vote as long as they met the same requirements as everybody else. Well, you can imagine that a proposal like that was highly controversial, and there was enormous pressure on Macdonald to compromise. One of those compromises was to deny the right to vote to Chinese people. Macdonald did not like it, but he was forced, and he introduced an amendment at the last minute to deny the right to vote to Chinese people. It was a dark day in the history of our democracy. He was also, after many months of debate, persuaded not to include the right to vote to women, and he had to remove it. He was also told that the idea of giving the vote to Indigenous people was not going to fly. He had to compromise, and he did by persuading people to allow Indigenous people from Central Canada and Eastern Canada the right to vote. And they did. In the election of 1887, Indigenous people did turn out to vote and actually made a difference in 6 ridings in Ontario. Of course, they voted Conservative. But the most important thing about that law of 1885 was that it dramatically increased the right to vote. In 1882, a little bit over 500,000 Canadians went to the polls to express their democratic wishes. In 1887, over 700,000 were allowed to do so, an increase of 40%. John A. Macdonald called it his greatest accomplishment, his greatest triumph. Did you know that he had done such a thing? It's worth remembering. My name is Patrice Dutil. Thanks for listening.